question in the blinder assignment was to identify some of the explicit statements made that we were able to gather some of them. Uh, Something people wanted more interpersonal matching more than just photos. Photos were not the most important feature anymore on dating sites. People don't trust dating apps that much, so the trust element was pretty low. Uh, Dating apps are also used for entertainment by many users. So the last one was people would prefer matches based on features, other than looks. I'm sorry about the spelling mistake on this one. But yeah, that's what. These are some of the explicit statements that we were able to identify. Um, Moving on, some of the metrics that we can use to gauge success would be, time spent by user on the app. So the time tracking will be done. Uh, Things like daily active users and how much time users are actually spending. What time the users are available. Is it during the day, or during the evening or afternoon? Tracking on all of those elements. Number of interaction would be another metric that we would be looking out for. And finally, there would be rating elements would be a metric. So there could be a complaint management over here. There could be surveys that could be rolled out to gauge more on how the customer is feeling about it, or the user experience overall that can be gauged. Um, Moving on to the sketch of two of the features. So the first feature that we can see is the option which Blinder provided, wherein once when you have a match is created, and then if you all want, they are providing the option to select some to-do items or some activities which can be used as a first date. So for that, that's the first sketch or mock-up rather you can see on the screen, the one with various food items and some travel options. And the second mock-up is kind of highlighting the feature wherein the display picture or the picture of the person profile picture should also have some kind of a story card attached to it. um, so that's what the second mock-up looks like, and you can see this female standing by the name of Wanda, and below is where you can see the story if they intend to add one. Right. Moving on to some user flows. For the first category, wherein we are trying to update the profile picture and the story, this would be the user flow. So this is the entry point. It could be the initial login, initial sign up, or whenever the user is changing the display picture or the profile picture. Then they go to the next task, which is select the profile picture, which then gives you the option to add the story card or enter the text as a story or a caption. Uh, and then that would lead to updating the story. Once when the customer or the user confirms that they want confirm the changes, the profile picture will be updated, and the changes also will be updated in the archive like an album or something. And then we'll move on to the next screen. If over here the user decides not to update the details, it will roll back to select display photo, wherein the user can go ahead and change it back or cancel it altogether. So that's the user flow for the category wherein we are trying to update the profile picture and the story card. Moving on to the next user flow. I'm sorry. Next user flow for this will give you the information about how the feature of providing dating ideas and activities to the user. So, so it will start with once when the match has been created, do they want to check some to-do activities as a first date? If the user select yes, they will be displayed with the option that we saw on the first mock-up screen earlier. Um, and from that, they will get the option to select whatever events are available. If they choose one of them, they will be redirected to the third party website for the for booking or whatever it is. And similarly, if the user in the initial step itself decides that they do not want to check the activities, it will take them back to the home screen or the next screen. Similarly, if the user is not able to identify any event that is or any activity which is of their interest, they will be rolled out or forwarded to the next screen or the home screen. So this is what we were able to create on the blinder piece. So any question, suggestion, or feedback on this?
Great. No, I like the entire flow of it, and also the clarity in communications, which is way more important than coming up with the most amazing ideas. That is one. Two, uh, and this is a question and a suggestion combined, is when you come up with a feature, I hope you are also evaluating that how many, what would be the target base for this feature and how many people would be using it, and how will we measure the success or failure of this feature. Because the only reason I'm pointing it out is that that is something that as product managers we have to do day in and day out. Like we can keep launching features, but we need to keep in mind before we build something, what should be the target base, and is there any other feature that we should be prioritizing. And second, once we have built it out, how do we measure the success or the failure. Other than that, this was a great presentation.
Thank you, Satyaki. I've made a note of that, and definitely, it
Sure.
will be key.
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Supratik, I think we can proceed with your assignment.
Just a minute, let me share the screen. It's visible now? Guys, my screen is visible?
I can see it, Supratik.
Okay, great. So I'll continue. I'll start basically. For me, Blinder is like a dating app which is focusing on helping users connect for a long-term relations probably, and they're trying to figure out if they're presented with long-term relations, are they is it something that they're looking for, and basis on that, basis on what the initial researches have been done, they found that yeah, it is something definitely to look upon. So he designed something, and for the metrics I am kind of looking into the ARD method basically. So the question comes as if how can we measure the UX designs. I've just gone into the whole understanding of it and brought an ARD concept out of it. So I think UX is involved right from when the user has come in to whatever he does. UX plays a part in it. So from acquisition point of view, there's a bounce rate that's always there. So install versus sign up bounce rate. So number of people who has actually signed up upon how many sign-ups does Play Store or whatever store, App Store or any other place where the app is there, right? It kind of gives you the idea like if how many people are signing up. I just wanted to mention that because it just fulfills the whole criteria of art. This is not entirely inside the UX part, but from second stage, like activation stage. So I've divided the activation stage in two parts. It is from inside the UX part. So on the first part of activation stage, I'm talking about profile completion, right? So what is the minimum amount of data that you would require, and like what is the maximum amount of list that you actually want to put up? You don't want to be a unending list, right? That people are going and keeping on iterating on the profile. that might also, because all the information that you will ask from the user, you will also have to display it. So somewhere there has to be a fine line, right? And what is the minimum amount of profile points that should be taken up, so that user filling up the minimum points can also display a complete picture for users who are looking for certain dating, right? And so the how we do check for that is number of data points completed on profile upon total profiles completed is something that will give you the idea what how many, like what are the kinds of information that people are willing to fulfill at the least, like their names maybe, but not maybe their addresses. People are not looking to put up their addresses probably, but their age, yeah, sure. Gender, sure, because these are certain that actually need and people do understand, I want need to put up my gender. So things like that. On the second stage of activation, I'm hypothesizing what is the user's first three or five activities. I've taken up five to keep a broader, clearer sense here. Right. So first five UX interactions. Now this is kind of something I think a lot of apps do these days. So they, like TikTok does it on a very like one of the best examples that I come up with is TikTok, I think. Like it checks on how you're interacting for the first 6 or 7, I don't know how many, but 6 or 7 videos, and then they start hypothesizing about you, put you in some sort of cohort, and then they keep trying to fit you into some sort of cohort later on based on your interests. So that's what I think dating app also comes quite close to it, what kind of a person you are, and that can be taken inside the metrics. So checks all max interest. So whatever interests you have put up, maybe there is one profile who is checking all those all your interests. There's another profile that is shown which does not meet any of your interest requirements. Maybe someone who is totally a hobby match for you, someone who is a total interest match for you, and someone who is like exactly in the age range that you are. And kind of based on your feedback, how you're interacting with them, like are you liking them or swiping them down or actually trying to chat with them, is something that can give you a better idea about what type of a dating person you are. So how would you do that? So metrics would be time spent on every profile, like upon story cards, right? Interaction with the story cards, like swipe, any other CTA that is present, call to action. And if you have actually tried to initiate a chat on someone, some kind of profile, and make an hypothesis, right? And later on, you can change these matchmaking rules based on personal search criteria. So you can tweak your personal search criteria and give a better clarity, right? The next phase is retention. So I've boiled it down to two parts. That did you uninstall it? It's pretty straightforward. I don't know why I'm written something here. So uninstall rate would be like number of uninstalls, right, on a defined time duration. Improve retention rates through features 1 and 2, and like so what is feature 1 and 2? Feature 1 is the story card and feature 2 is the date ideas. So if checked, the profile at a deeper level is the kind of trigger, right? Did the user check this profile at a deeper level is the trigger, and the metric to check it is a number of potential profiles liked by the user, right? If it is greater or lower than optimum match rate, there must be an optimum match rate, so that's another metric, and it's like kind of number of matches that has been produced to you. There's a chat rate, percentage of app usage spent on various sessions, right? So this is like percentage time of the app spent on various sessions, percentage time used on the chat, basically. I missed that part here. Used on chat, and right, quality or authentication of profiles. And this is the second part, date booking rate. So like whatever date ideas there are you actually someone who is actually booking them and helping? So number of dates booked upon date books check, percentage of users trying to so number of dates booked upon total number of checked, right? So how many date books did you actually try to book, or and now how many actually has been booked, and not for on a personal basis, maybe on a total basis. On the next part is the revenue. It's pretty much straightforward. It's a premium feature up there, and so premium when offered, and percentage success rate, like which feature is a little more successful, and maybe which particular feature is prompting the user to accept more premium offers, like convert into a premium user. And you kind of figure out, like, so someone, after you have shown a story card who is the user has liked and maybe also initiated the chat, you kind of ask the user, why don't you turn into a premium user, and you can do this and this extra. And what is the success rate there versus you give them these dating ideas and the user kind of books in. And when the user is kind of moving on to the third party platform, you kind of give them this idea, like, if you have this premium feature, you would have got this one for free, or maybe a bigger offer, right? And if they're converting there, so that's one way of checking the revenue stream. Refer is like internal referral rate, percentage users referring divided by number of signups. I'll just take a pause here, like, would I make myself any sort of clear to what I have tried to do here? Is there any questions? Like,
No, so this is a very clearly, deeply thought out structure. It's just probably for one person to consume in a very short time, maybe would be a little bit of a task, but it's a very detailed, well thought out structure. So maybe what I would like to do is once we are done with the class, that I would like to sit down and go through it on my own so that I consume all of it.
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. So let me just then carry on with the sketches here,
Sure.
right? So once again, apologies from the. This is the second folder for my apology. So I normally use Adobe XD. I have used Adobe XD very extensively. I haven't used it for the last 2 months, and there has been some definite changes. So you can see an image missing here, something missing here. There's actually something missing here as well. So I'm really apologies for that. But anyway, I'll just give you an idea. So this is like the profile. Now the profile, what in my sense, Blinder is not Tinder. If it was Tinder, they would have just put up the profile and mashed it up a little, the images based on their colors and views or whatever. Views like views, and but this is not Tinder. Like, this is Blinder, and they are looking to focus on their hobbies and interests. So the matches here, like, he's a traveling person. I've just come up with one profile here. I'm trying to figure out, trying to give an idea how in my eye Blinder is. So in here, this top portion, it actually gives us the whole idea what this user is. So this is the name, 30 male, likes to travel. What are the matches with me? Like, likes to travel. Like, this is like, if it is for me, it's for female. Don't get wrong ideas. And this is food, right? So he's a foodie, and I've picked up this particular issue, particular small user stories or whatever points basically, and I've clipped them into different ideas. And this is like about me. So what's about me is maybe another image, or maybe this image on an expanded form, whatever. This is like the interests here, the hobbies here, and kind of verifies the user. So if FB verified, or this is, I forgot what this is. Probably, I think this is Google verified, and this is like some so in search of soulmate, right. So like, what is this person here for? Maybe if he has put that up, like, that's like the control of information that this guy has, and he has put up, like, I'm someone who's looking for a soulmate, right? So this is the first one, feature one. This is the feature two on the right side. These are the date ideas. So now when you're actually trying to book a date, I figured that it's going to be, you are already chatting with someone, that you're not going to go on a date on a solo, I think. So that's why I put up both these profiles here. And this is how is one way, of course, to put up the date. So it's like a title here, this is where the third party can do their creativity. They can put up an image here, they can put up their offer in bold letters and a little of description and of course their name. So in the next part I've come up with that. So want to make googly eyes at each other, so coffee at adda and something like 25% off. So this is the like of date idea that they're coming up with. Clicking on it probably would take them to a third party, and whatever you see on gold is like the premium features that I was talking about. Like maybe I click on chat here, and thing is like if I click on chat here, maybe a pop-up comes in, you have a premium and you can do this and this. And if I click on this particular data idea, maybe a pop-up comes in and say, if you had a premium, you could get this for 75% off. Okay, let me just scroll down once again. Errors here. This is another search criteria. So I would definitely feel that since Blinder is coming up with so much of in-depth analysis of a user, and in my eye, so probably they would also have another particular page where the user can set their own search criteria. So like they're looking for people who are interested in traveling in these 3 compartments, but not someone who is a wildlife cover, maybe on a foodie basis, maybe on a location basis, and it's very straightforward from there. So once again, apologies. This is like let me just, yeah. So user enters into the platform, just follow down with me if you can, enters into the platform. He kind of checks if it's a new user or a sign up. If it's a new user, asks to complete the profile, check for the first 5 profiles like I was talking about in the first 5 UX design, register the preferences and start checking on other profiles. Right? Now, someone who is not a new user comes on the landing page. This is one trigger that I've put up here. What is this trigger? This is another way of triggering the revenue stream, right? So this is a 1 month free premium. Just put up your credit card and book for 3 months, sort of thing. Once on the landing page, I'm thinking of what are the 3 or 4 or 5 kind of things that a user can have. So he can directly go to check other profile section, which I think might be one of the most extensively used. But nonetheless, if that person has already found someone, is already conversing, that is something that can actually bring the user to the platform. Like someone replied to your chat messages, and when you open the app, you don't want to shift here or don't want to shift anywhere else. You just want to go directly into the conversation. So there should be a direct link here. Like on the search criteria, I'm bored about how the way I am searching. So let me just change up my search criteria, which will push the user to this flow. Register the preferences, check for profiles. And like if the user is someone who directly wants to book a date, like shift to the feature 2. So that's another one. There can be a few others which I have not mentioned here, like settings or applications. And why do you settings and profile settings? And the reason I think I should be putting them up, because those are the places from where a user can actually uninstall the application. So finding those triggers where, like, what were the last 5 activities that a user did. Probably the user was searching for book a date, he couldn't, and he just kind of uninstalled the app. Maybe I'm just putting it out there. So that is also something I think it should be there on the landing page. Coming back to this flow, once he's checking the other profiles, he's requesting for a match. If it's a premium account, he's directly being able to chat. If it's not a premium account, he's waiting for that match, and then if someone accepts, then he's going for the chat. Once he is in the chat section, probably only then you can only book a date. I'm not so sure. It can be so that this date feature is not something, and based on user experience or whatever data that we have collected, that the book a date feature is also something that the user just comes on this application to just book a date because of that offer. So should that be there to book on a solo basis is something that metrics will help us figure out. So that's on the detail level from my side on Blinder.
Got it. Great.
Any quick feedback, Satviki, like something you saw off-putting here and maybe not relevant to the question? Because I felt when I did it that I may have gone on a bit of extra level of depth, not required.
It's just that I would like to go through the document properly before I ask questions.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of detail,